What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I would like to welcome you all to another edition of Wayne's Perspective, where we operate in discipline, decency, integrity, and respect. And I'm coming through with another video just for you. All right, y'all. So currently in the Richmond, Virginia area, hashtag 804. It is 8:31 p.m. I hope everyone has had a good day today, living life the best way you know how, taking every day one day at a time, etc., etc. As for me, business as usual on my end, nothing new or different. As long as I have a productive work day and a solid day overall, I'm good. So, that's the case with me on today. So other than that, no complaints. Just taking every day one day at a time and living life the best way I know how. So with all that being said, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get right into the video. And looking at the title, y'all already know what it's about. Man, Stephen A. Smith, bless his heart. I said one thing about him. The brother, he speaks his mind. And usually when you speak your mind these days, and especially when it comes to certain topics, the internet is going to come after you. So if he's not talking about, black men identifying with Trump or sympathizing with that guy, to getting into it with Monica McNutt and other people from ESPN, to now he's bringing Will Smith into it and Chris Rock and all of that. So it's like, man, every time there's some clapbacks, there's controversy and vice versa. So that's what we're going to take a look at today in this reaction video, which is going to be courtesy of the Clay Kane Show. Shout out to him. Follow his channel if you haven't done so already. And of course, we got Mrs. Reese Colbert. And if you're all familiar with her, y'all know what to expect when she get on these panels, and she gonna speak her mind as well. So shout out to her and follow her as well if you haven't done so already. So with all that being said, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get right into this video. I'm going to come back with my thoughts as well, like I normally do. Fair usage for the video, fair usage. And again, this is courtesy of the Clay Kane Show, along with Mrs. Reese Colbert. So let's go ahead and get this started, y'all.
Yes. All right. So let's talk a little bit of Stephen A. Smith. He went viral. I covered this a bit yesterday because I guess he had an issue that, and I'm paraphrasing here, that the Will Smith and Martin Lawrence iconic franchise, fourth installment Bad Boys for Life, did so well. And he brought up Chris Rock being slapped by Will Smith at the Oscars and said that Will Smith needs to sit down and have a talk with the black community.
Okay, now I know I'm stopping it early, but let me stop it right there. Okay, so a brief word on the Bad Boys 4, aka Bad Boys Ride or Die movie. Now, a couple of videos ago, I talked about that at the beginning, and I pretty much said that the movie was awesome. I already pre-ordered the 4K HD Blu-ray DVD. There is no release date for it, but the pre-order is already on Amazon, so I'm just waiting to get some additional details, and it'll be here soon, sooner rather than later. That's that part. And again, the film was great. I strongly recommend that you check it out if you haven't done so already. In the meantime, my favorite in the franchise is always going to be part 2, and I already talked about that in the video. Okay, now the Chris Rock Will Smith thing from 2022. Yeah, this was 2 years ago. I never really talked about it on my channel, because I just didn't have a reason to. But since it's been brought back into the public consciousness, let me talk about it, and I'm gonna try to be brief here. Now, when I first heard about it, I didn't really have any immediate thoughts on it. And when I saw the video, I was like, damn, Now, some people took Will Smith to task for it because it was so public, and other people said that Chris Rock had it coming. Now, the way that I see it is, jokes or not, Chris Rock was coming at Jada Pinkett Smith. Now, other channels have talked about this, specifically Your World, Mr. Harvey, shout out to him. He's always said that no matter what we may think of Will and Jada's relationship, Chris Rock was out of pocket for the jokes that he was telling, and then, outdated jokes such as G.I. Jane and all that other stuff. And it's like, why are you coming at Jada like that? Joke or not, knowing how black women feel about their hair, so I didn't really think it was funny. And basically, when it came to Will Smith's reaction, he didn't think it was funny either. So basically, okay, if we want to be balanced here, both men were wrong on both sides, but in this case, I didn't have a thought at the time either way. And I remember a couple of people saying to me that it was staged. It didn't come off like it was staged or if it was part of a plan or something like that. I mean, you already at the Oscars, so you didn't need to do anything additional to draw attention to yourselves. You really didn't, So it is what it is. It happened. And of course, some people took it far. And I think there was one guy at the time who said that Will's slap could have hurt Chris or something like that. Now that's taking it too far. I mean, we're talking about two grown-ass black men here. Ain't no slap gonna hurt somebody or kill somebody. It may do something to your pride and ego, but it's not going to put you in the hospital. I mean, let's be real here. So those are my thoughts on it. And why we talking about that today is beyond me. And I think another issue for some people is that us as black people, we still have this need to be accepted at places like the Oscars. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not to downplay, the achievements of blacks when it comes to the Oscars, and the first three names that come to mind are Denzel Washington, Jamie Foxx, and Halle Berry, and you can go on to Lou Gossett Jr. And there are others, So yes, it's always an achievement to get an Academy Award, but we still to this day just have this need to be accepted by that crowd. And it's like, it's not going to be in a level of acceptance like that. Now, you can flip that around and say we need our own Academy Awards. Okay, that may look good on paper, but in actual execution, is that going to work? Because it's always going to be something, and then, other races are going to feel left out, so it don't even need to be that type of controversy when you're trying to reward black people for their achievements in film and stuff like that. So my thing is that 2 years after the fact, we don't need to go over that once again, and the fact that Stephen A. Smith is bringing this up is beyond me, but we're going to go into it. So I just wanted to make that point clear. And I also want to say this too. I remember saying to myself at the time that what would have benefited both men is that after the controversy had died down, they could have, talked it out like two grown men, and hashed out their differences publicly and then move on. I think that would have been good for both men. And whoever would have got them on a podcast together or something like that, it would have been great. Now, it's still not too late to do that. As a matter of fact, I would say that they should do that before the summer is out. Let me know what y'all think about that. But yeah, we're going to continue on. But like I said, I just wanted to interrupt the video 35 seconds in to make those points. Let's go.
And now he's responding to the backlash. So I want to play a clip, but I want to also kind of reiterate what I was saying yesterday. I stand by. I think it was terrible what Will Smith did. I know you feel a little differently about it, Reese. But one, I don't like to see black men hitting each other. Mm-hmm. So that it's not about the Oscars. It isn't about that. I just don't like to see that. I don't like World Star hip hop videos of that. I don't like to see that. And I thought Will Smith was being a privileged, petulant celebrity by getting on a stage and smacking the hell out of somebody. Chris Rock has daughters. I thought it was wrong and trifling and disrespectful.
Okay. Let me stop it right there. Okay, yeah. With all due respect, Chris Rock, he has daughters. Okay, so the fact that what Will Smith did was so public, okay, I get that point. Now, Will and Jada have kids too, mind you, even though they may be a little older. And I don't know how old Chris Rock's daughters are, but we got to look at it from both sides here. So we're going to talk about the children. It was wrong on both ends for them to do what they did. It was wrong for Chris Rock to make the jokes that he did, and it was wrong for Will Smith to take the actions that he did. So that was wrong on both sides. It's not 100% Chris. It's not 100% Will. And also now when I think about it, and I think somebody said this on an episode of a podcast back in 2022 when it happened, Chris Rock would have been better off making a joke towards Will, something along the lines of, shout out to Will Smith, you've been doing your thing, you've come a long way since the days of the Wild Wild West. Now, that would have got some laughs. And, of course, it would have been like kind of an inside joke because everybody remember all of the hype surrounding Wild Wild West in 99. And it turned out to be a flop, creatively and commercially as well. So, that would have been a good thing instead of going after Jada and her hair, too. I mean, y'all know how the sisters are about their hair. If you're going to make fun of them, the sisters would prefer that you don't make fun of them at all, which I get. But don't go after a woman's hair, joking or not. You're just not going to endear yourselves to them and others for doing that, So again, overall, wrong on both sides. So I'll continue on. And then, no, I don't like seeing black men hitting each other in any form, especially in public. Now, if you're defending yourself, that's one thing. But in this case, there was nothing to that. Will Smith took action, wrong or not, and that's what happened. And yeah, World Star Hip Hop, I'm over that particular website. I did go on the site a few times way back in the day when it first launched, but I have no use for it now. So let's continue on.
And it was just wrong to me in every way, shape, or form. But it is not up to Stephen A. Smith to give this grand opinion or like he's some kind of psychologist on how Chris Rock feels. Chris Rock has spoken out. Chris Rock talked about it in his comedy special. He's addressed it extensively. And Chris Rock has said he hasn't spoken to Will Smith, and that's his prerogative.
Yeah,
I don't think Chris Rock has to talk to Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
You never got to talk to him again.
Yeah,
that was wrong, and that's whatever. But it's been a couple of years now. I don't believe in crucifying the man for a ridiculous, terrible thing he did. And so I want to just play a clip. This is the edited version of his longer 4-minute, speech. And listen to this.
Will Smith slapping Chris Rock was a devastating thing.
For who?
I'm not talking just for Chris Rock, who's a friend of mine. I'm talking for the black community because obviously Will Packer was the first black producer to be doing the Oscars in its history. And that was a devastating blow to him. Will Smith came out with Emancipation a year later for Apple and all of that stuff.
Okay, now I'm going to pause it on my end. Okay, a devastating blow to who? This did not set black people back. This did not make us look bad. It was something that happened. And trust me, before then, there have been way worse incidents that were public that were way worse than Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. And quite frankly, in the future, if today's generation have anything to say about it, we're going to see way worse than that. Hopefully, we don't see anything crazy, but y'all know how it is out here. So no, it wasn't devastating to me personally because, again, I didn't think nothing of it. It was something that happened, but it didn't make us as a community look bad. Now, I will say that when it comes to how white people, for example, would view the situation, they would probably look at it like, see how they act when they're in public and stuff like that. They'll also look at it like, see, this is why we don't want them, quote unquote, them in our spaces because they're going to act like that. But if you flip that around, and shout out to Harvey from the Your World channel, Harvey was like, if that was a white man coming up there to avenge, if you will, his wife, the media and everybody else will be celebrating that. But when it's a black man, it's vilified. Y'all see how it works? And again, we're not trying to bring race into it, but that's how it would be looked at. Tom Cruise, for example, could do something like that and it'll be celebrated. But if Will Smith or in reverse, Chris Rock did that, then it'll be vilified. But then again, when you look at the dynamics, Chris Rock probably would have been celebrated by some and vilified by others, whereas Will Smith got more vilification. I don't even know if that's a word, but bear with me here. He would have been vilified more, I guess, because of his profile or whatever. But yeah, Stephen A. Smith, homeboy. This was not a devastating blow to the black race. It was not a devastating blow to our cause. It was not a devastating blow to our community at all. It was a slap. It happened, and people moved on. So there was no repercussions or consequences for Will's actions. If anything, the only person who suffered any consequences of that was Will Smith. I believe he was banned from the Oscars for like 10 years, so he was the only one that was held accountable for that. Let's get real here, y'all.
Hold on one second. I'm sorry. This was not devastating for the black community. These were two rich, privileged men, and there was a slap at the Oscars. I cannot stand. This pisses me off. Any group that does this, whether it's LGBT folks or black folks, that somebody doing this makes all of us look bad.
Right.
That is some old school race. It's just, that's such a bizarre thing to say.
It's unnecessary.
That's ridiculous. It was not.
Right.
What's devastating for the black community, Reese Colbert, is low wages,
Yep.
not having access to fair housing, health care. We cannot get gun legislation through Congress.
Yep.
Voter suppression.
The child
Books
tax
by
credit
Maya Angelou being
expiring.
banned. Say it again.
The child tax
Child
credit
income
expiring.
tax, the Affordable Connectivity Program expiring. Those are the things that are devastating. Not two rich, privileged guys at the Oscars. That's so out of context that would be like me saying it was devastating for you to sit down and babble with Sean Hannity, Stephen A. Smith. I mean, I wouldn't say something as ridiculous as that.
Exactly. That's a good point. And Stephen A. Smith will be one of the first to tell you that him and Sean Hannity are good friends. And, you know, that's nothing to be celebratory about, but I digress. But yeah, I can imagine that a couple of months after the fact in 2022, most people were, you know, most people have moved on from that Will Smith, Chris Rock thing. Wasn't nobody talking about that. I mean, to be fair, there were still sections of the internet that were still talking about that, but that wasn't a major story at the time, you know, after the fact, that is. So, I mean, no, that was no devastating blow.
Yeah.
On Fox News. This is not, that's really dramatic and silly and just over the top and just offensive.
Yeah.
Offensive to who we are as Black people, where we are, and to put all that pressure on Will Smith, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And I want to step in and say Stephen A. Smith would have been better off coming on one of his platforms and saying, you know, I checked out Bad Boys 4, aka Bad Boys Ride or Die this weekend. My hats off to Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, and the rest of the crew. They did their thing. It's a great movie. I recommend that you all check it out. I had a good time, and I'm sure you all will too. Bam. Hello. I mean, that's all you had to do. Why you had to step in and say he, you know, something akin to he owes the Black community an explanation. An explanation for what?
Go ahead.
Will Smith was sensational in that movie. So was Antoine Fuqua, the esteemed director and producer extraordinaire. One could easily argue that both of them would have won an Oscar for that, and that Will Slap cost Will Smith and Antoine Fuqua an Oscar. That's what I was thinking about. I was thinking about Black folks everywhere.
I'm sorry. Pause it. This is this worshiping of the Oscar. He's talking about emancipation.
Yeah, that was a good movie, but
it was good.
I never seen it. In the comments, if anybody have seen that, let me know how it was. I may check it out.
I mean, Will Smith, who cares about the Oscars? Yeah. Who cares about it? It's this worshiping, and this Stephen A. Smith frames himself as being some, you know, great. Who cares about the ride or die for the Oscars? Will Smith won his Oscar. It happened. And let's also add, I don't feel this way. There were some folks that didn't want to see another film about slavery, you know, with emancipation. I don't feel that way at all. So there's a whole long conversation we can get into when Black movies come out and they tackle slavery. I feel differently. I feel like we don't know slavery like we think we do. I know we think we've had roots in 12 years a slave, but we actually don't know slavery like we think we do. And then you never hear narratives like, oh, stop focusing on the Holocaust. But this idea this smack cost Will Smith and Antoine Fuqua the Oscar. Why is Antoine Fuqua in it?
Did he like why is he in it? Why are you speaking for him?
Right.
I'm sorry. Okay, play the rest.
Aspiring to be in this business, aspiring to succeed. And something like that happens, and it was a blemish on all of us. Because I know how much white America reveres Will Smith. And then I got a call from my man, Charlie Mack.
Man, I tried my best not to say this, but I'm going to take it back, y'all. Okay, what a maroon. This was a blemish on who? It wasn't a blemish on me. It wasn't a blemish on Reese or Clay Kane or Will Smith or Chris Rock or any of us. I mean, what blemish, man? Oh, my God.
Charlie Mack is Will Smith's former security, good friend of Will Smith, closely connected to Will Smith for decades. I've known Charlie Mack for nearly 30 years. I got a lot of love for him. And he was on fire, calling me because he disagreed with my opinion.
Oh, is that it? Oh, okay. Well, basically, he at the end of it, he says that Charlie Mack said, "What about Grace?" No, that actually wasn't it. That's weird. There must be a cutoff. Charlie Mack said, "What about Grace?" and also said, "What about the ways how this movie, Martin Lawrence is also in the movie. It's not just about Will Smith, and
Yeah.
that all the people who get a job because of a movie like this." So I don't want to say he apologized, but he responded to the black backlash. But who knew this smack was a blemish on all of us, Reese? This smack was a blemish on all of us. Who knew? Who knew this was the blemish of our lifetime?
Insane.
Wow. Go ahead, Reese Colbert. Go ahead.
Just unhinged. Like Stephen A. Smith, the white man's ice is not colder. This white-centric worldview that you have that exalts white acceptance and then puts a black man, an individual, under the weight of the black community and attaches the entire black community to the actions of one man. You got to fix that. You got to fix that. And I'm confused, not really, by why you have more smoke for Will Smith for an old ass slap than you did for Donald Trump.
Hello. I was waiting for that part. Yep. That's a good ass point. You see, he probably ain't gonna revisit that subject because of all of the heat that he got from that, including my video. And shout out to, the people who came by and checked out my video on that. Stephen A. Smith, apology not accepted. That today as it stands, that's my most viewed and my most commented on video. I just had to throw it out there. But yeah, he got more smoke for Will Smith, but no, he don't got that much for Trump. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he don't revisit that subject again because of the clapback that he got from everybody, including myself, So yeah, shout out to Reese on this one.
You want to talk about how it makes us look, how it makes us look. How does it make us look when you attach criminality to black people and say that black people identify with the fucking convicted felon, Donald J. Trump? How does that make us look?
You said a word.
You want to talk about destructive to the community. How is it that funky ass slap stands out more to you than the Buffalo mass shooting that's happened since then? Okay, let's not even talk about violence against black people. That doesn't register to you. Why is it that you think an award show being produced? Mind you, Will Packer produces plenty of successful things. I watch all his shows on OWN Network. Okay?
Legend at this point.
Hello.
At this point, he's a legend. Yeah,
he is
incredible.
Will Smith, Westbrook Entertainment produces a lot of successful things.
Overbrook
Entertainment. Yeah.
All good.
So these black men ain't hurting for nothing. Okay. I haven't heard you open up your motherfucking mouth about the Fearless Fund, about the way that now black people cannot have specifically targeted things for us. Black women. Oh, maybe doesn't register because it's a black woman thing. I don't know how you became the arbiter, the spokesperson of the black race, but just zip it. Just speak for yourself. You can have your opinion. I don't care what your opinion is. But why are we, the black community of the United States of America, in it? How are you speaking for us? We are not in it. Will Smith does not owe us anything. Will Smith had whatever situation he had with Chris Rock. We all saw it. Chris Rock had a whole ass comedy special, talked about it, called Jada Smith every bitch in the book. Did you speak out about how detrimental it is to sit up there and call a woman who, by the way, did nothing in the situation, bitch. No, you went on a misogynistic rant against Jada Pinkett Smith, your damn self. So you need to shut the fuck up when it comes to speaking for us. Speak for yourself. Speak for yourself.
Right.
And we could just ignore your opinion in peace because it's really not relevant. But then you want to bring us all in it, and now we got to address you. Will Smith doesn't owe us anything. Bad Boys, Ride or Die was spectacular. Him and Martin Lawrence are probably one of the greatest action duos ever.
Of all time.
Yep.
Of all time, period. For a successful
and
film.
the most longevity.
The most longevity.
The buddy cop duo genre. Absolutely.
Mind you, original characters This isn't
Yeah.
a Disney film. No shade to Disney, but I'm just saying this is something that is. It was actually Martin's movie
Yeah.
first, and he
Absolutely.
brought in
Yeah.
Will Smith.
Yeah. It's a
So
good story. Yeah. It's a
yeah,
good,
yeah,
if you believe in, be a credit to your race and the racial uplifted movement and don't shame the race, which is stuff like my grandfather's generation would have said,
Mhm.
I would think you'd be, in Jubilee over
Right.
Bad Boys. I mean, and I can't stand that
I hate
don't
that.
shame the race bullshit. I could never like that kind of stuff. I think we should have the beauty to be as ratchet,
Flawed.
if you believe in, oh yeah, ratchet, odds can, button up, loose, whatever,
Mhm,
action,
mhm.
beauty of all of it. That's the real freedom, when you can
Right.
have the range of beauty and blackness. And I'm not going to lean into, oh, it's a blemish for all of us. No, it's not.
It's not. It's not. It's not even. But the
They
only
make
people
us look bad.
Right.
how I don't care about what Will Smith did 4 years ago. Or two, however many. I don't even know how many years ago it was. It was some years ago. Okay. And the last thing I would say too, if you want to talk about the benefiting the black race and apparently entertainment in movies being made benefits it, we still live in an environment where every single black film we have to prove that we are marketable, that people want to see our stories, that black audiences actually go to the movies, and that it's worth having a
Even being
movie.
a writer, I
Yes.
had to. It was. Do you know how difficult it was to get this book published? Whether you're a
Mhm,
writer, whether
mhm.
you're in Hollywood. I'm sorry, Reese. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying black people still have to prove that our product is something worth producing across the board, music, movies, TV shows, etc. We are constantly having to prove. And so the success of that movie continues down the path of allowing more black produced products, black starring films to be made, because I can guarantee you if it failed, it would have been just as much an indictment on the marketability of black people. And then we're not talking about spring chickens here. They're getting older, and the movie to
Yep.
me has matured along with them. So to have
That's
50
true.
plus year old action stars, I think that's a big deal. In this, to whatever extent that you think it's a big deal that we have black entertainment, I think that's a big deal. So Stephen A. Smith, speak for yourself. You don't have to go see it. Don't matter. A whole bunch of people saw it, and mostly everybody that saw it loved it.
All right. So that's the end of that. But again, shout out to Mrs. Reese Colbert and shout out to Clay Kane for their thoughts. But yeah, that was a good discussion. But yeah, I mean, they hit the nail on the head throughout the whole video. No, you don't speak for the whole community. Are you a voice? Yes, a real prevalent voice nowadays, but no, you don't speak for the entirety of the community. And like they said, speak for yourself. Oh, Stephen A. Smith. And if you come through with an apology saying that what you said was taken out of context, save the apology. It would not be accepted, just like the apology that you gave, or should I say the half-ass apology that you gave when you made the comments about Trump and talking about black men are going to sympathize with him because of his legal troubles. No way, no how. And on that note, y'all, we've come to the end of this video. So if you like what you heard and you're ready to become part of Team Discipline, go ahead and hit that like button and drop some comments if you're feeling the content. Let me know what y'all think about Mr. Stephen A. Smith and this controversy that he keeps getting himself into. Let me know what y'all think. And last but not least, hit that subscribe button along with the bell so you're notified when I drop new videos. And until next time, my people, take care of yourselves and remember the power of the mind is valuable. And no, one slap does not equal a devastating blow or blemish to an entire community. In this case, the black community. Stop it. Please stop it. Take care, y'all.